The University of Arizona Wildcats win this game 87 to the Rhode Island Rams 59. Uh, I'm really happy with the way Rhode Hollis-Jefferson is playing. I didn't really know too much about him um, before the start of the season came, and he's really starting to step up. I mean, before I was comparing him to um, Kyle Fogg, and I think he's better actually than Kyle Fogg. What is he? I think he's a freshman. So, and he scored 13 points. But the thing that I really am impressed about Rondé Hollis Jefferson is he's not afraid to dribble penetrate, and I think that's a good quality if you can get players that are not afraid to dribble penetrate. Then, because T.J. McConnell is not afraid to dribble penetrate, and of course, he's a junior, I guess, because he transferred from Duquesne. But he's a junior, but so I'm saying that he has veteran experience, so maybe he's not too afraid to dribble penetrate. And and that would be interesting to see if the dribble penetration still continues whenever we play teams that have much better RPIs, because Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Rams, I think their RPI is probably uh, 250 or something like that. That's not too great, and um, I think that if we should have, you know, if the Arizona Wildcats should have been watching out for anybody, they should have been watching out for Xavier Munford. That guy, he scored 22 points tonight. He only made 1 out of 6 from three-point land, but he was just on fire from field goal percentage. He had 7 for 18 from field goal percentage, and I think that one of the reasons um, why uh, he made most of his his 2-point shots. I think that the 18 is kind of a misnomer because 6 of those 18 were 3-point attempts, and But anyway, he had Munford from the Rhode Island Rams had 22, and he was the only one that scored in double figures um, for Rhode Island, for the Rhode Island Rams. The next one was Biggie uh, Minnis, Biggie, yeah, Biggie Minnis. I think that's a funny name. Uh, I think it's a kind of cool name, but it's Biggie Minnis. Is his name? What's his name? It's interesting. Um, so anyway, we had the Arizona Wildcats. Um, uh, During the last few games, well, probably pretty much since the beginning, we've had a lot of our players in foul trouble, and Caleb Tarczewski fouled out of this game. Um, some of the calls were lousy. They weren't right, and so he got called for some stuff that he shouldn't have. But he's just a sophomore, so and usually our post players stay for quite a while. Usually the post players stay for 4 years. So he Tarczewski had I think he had a 4-inch um, advantage over their tallest guy. I think their tallest guy was 6'8", and here Tarczewski's 7 feet. So he did have quite an advantage. But he only ended up with 4 rebounds, and one of them was offensive. Um, the big thing that I think is really cool is the offensive rebounds, and Aaron Gordon had 3 offensive rebounds. There was a few dunks that I saw. Aaron Gordon had one really nice dunk, and then Nick Johnson had a really nice dunk where he was just flying out of nowhere. And I think Rhode, Hollis-Jefferson had a dunk also. Let's see, who else? Oh, there was something that really stood out, and that was the amount of assists that the University of Arizona Wildcats had. They had 19 assists, and the Rhode Island Rams had 6 assists. So that was a huge difference. And first of all, Nick Johnson he was doing assists like there was nobody's business. He had 6 assists in the end, and then T.J. McConnell caught up somewhat to him and had 5 assists. That's the lowest assist ratio, or the lowest assist amount that T.J. McConnell has had this year for the Arizona Wildcats, I think. But if you can get 11 from those 2 guys, 11 assists from those 2 guys, then that's going to be something that's really valuable. And so I think next game Arizona Wildcats are going to be playing Drexel in Madison Square Gardens. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention was the amount of players that were in double figures. Nick Johnson actually ended up with 20 points, which was awesome. It would be nice to get it's funny because he got 20 points, but he did 9 assists, so he was just on fire tonight. He was doing really, really nicely. Brendan Ashley had 16 points. How many of those? Well, he didn't make it. He didn't assist at all. But and 8 of those, and 6 of those, 6 of the 16 points for Brendan Ashley for the Arizona Wildcats were free throws, and they didn't do too bad. They were at 55% at one point in the free throw land, and I was like, ooh, that's not too great, but they ended up with 70% from free throws, and I think that was, for some reason, Brendan Ashley got it in his head that he needed to start knocking down some three-pointers, not three-pointers, but some free throws. Brendan Ashley didn't make any three-pointers, but Nick Johnson made a couple, and Rhode, Hollis-Jefferson made one. He's never made a three-pointer at all, and Gabe York made a couple out of 4. So anyway, 14 turnovers. I think that would be acceptable to Miller, to Coach Miller, but for Arizona, 14 turnovers for the Arizona Wildcats, I think that would be acceptable for Coach Miller, because anything below, I think 15 or 16 is acceptable to him, to Coach Miller. But I heard on the radio that Rhode Island Rams were they were really, really bad at turnovers, and they only ended up with 12 turnovers. So they took care of the ball pretty good. Not much. I mean, much better than they usually normally do. So let me see if there was anybody else. He already did what he put in a lot of the second string. Coach Miller from the Arizona Wildcats, he put in a lot of the second string right there at the end. Although Rhode, Hollis-Jefferson was second string, but he put in a lot of the second string. Elliott Pitts and Zach Peters, and Jacob Hazard, and let's see, Korchek also, and they didn't make as much of an impact on the final score of the game as they did last game whenever we played the Dickinson team yesterday. Although Elliott Pitts had 3 points, but anyway, the Arizona Wildcats win this game. Arizona Wildcats win this game 87 to the Rhode Island Rams 59.